Hey everyone, One Big Boss here. As you can tell by the title of the video that you clicked on, it's a top 10 video. And today we are talking about my personal top 10 games I'm excited for in 2023. 2022 had a lot of decent games, honestly, and to be fair, I didn't get to play a lot of them. I just kept getting kind of stuck in the past and playing a lot of retro games, but this year I really do want to change that because there are a lot of great games coming out this year for 2023. So with that being said, let's start this video off, and here you go, guys. Here are my top 10 games that I'm excited for in 2023. Dead Space Remake. Okay, so it's no surprise I'm not the biggest survival horror fan in terms of like playing the games, which, you know, being on the Residence of Evil, you'd think that I would be into a lot more horror games, but you know, it's always really Resident Evil with me for horror games, you know, and there are a lot of other horror games that I do enjoy, but Dead Space Remake is very important, and I actually do want to play it. I want to play it more than I did the Cholesterol Protocol. Yes, I'm still calling it that, because Dead Space did a lot for people back in the day. I mean, Resident Evil 4 kind of inspired a lot of the things in Dead Space, you know, and Dead Space has gone on to be one of the best games of all time for a lot of people. And honestly, I didn't really play much of the original back in the day. Played a little bit here or there at friends' house, but that was about it. I never really had the game personally up until probably about 5 years ago when I got it for dirt cheap at GameStop when they sold games for, you know, dirt cheap for PS3 titles and such. But honestly, I'm willing to give it a shot. I really hope that it's a good game because a lot of people are excited for this. And to be honest, we need more survival horror games in this day and age. So here's hoping that Dead Space Remake is actually good. Dead Island 2. Yeah. Another horror game that makes the list for a guy who doesn't like horror games. And the reason why I put this on the list is because I hated the original. Again, doesn't make much sense why this game's on the list now, does it? But the thing was, I didn't have a team to play with back in the day in terms of the original, right? And I guess you could play the original solo, and I did. I tried, and it just wasn't for me back in the day, ladies and gentlemen. I didn't really enjoy the original Dead Island that much, but I was excited for the sequel back in the day, and then obviously we got nothing from that. And then out of the ether, Dead Island 2 happens. And honestly, yeah, I'm excited for it. Dead Island 2, I think, has a lot to live up to, unfortunately. I think there's a lot riding on this game. But again, I want to see more games like these come out. Like, I want to see more survival horror. I want to see like team-based horror survival with like zombies and monsters and shit like that. I want to see games like that, okay? Back 4 Blood was okay for what it was, but a lot of people fell off that game really hard, and I really hope Dead Island 2 doesn't happen with it. I really hope Dead Island 2 sells big. It's a great game, plays well, and has a longevity to it, because again, we need more games like these for the survival horror community. Mega Man Battle Network Collection. Okay, it's a no-brainer that a Capcom game has to be on this list, right? Because it's me and it's Capcom games. But I know a lot of people have not played the Mega Man Battle Network games because they were kind of mostly relegated to the handheld back in the day. They had the Battle Network games, and eventually they went to, I think they got onto the DS at one point. I only had played the original Battle Network and Battle Network 2. I remember in junior high getting the original, and all my buddies at lunch, we got the game because we were all Capcom fans, we're all Mega Man fans, so of course we wanted to play this. And for it to be like this RPG where you use battle chips, it was so ingenious back then. And now with them bringing it back, which I was hoping Capcom would do because they brought back every other Mega Man franchise in a collection, which is freaking awesome. But for this one, you could play online against your friends who have this game. Like, I am super stoked about that. It might be an old game from over 20 years ago, but it's relevant again. Like, you're gonna be able to play online and trade chips with friends, like, and battle your friends without a link cable. Of course, that was part of the joy of having that back in the day. Was, you know, my friends at lunch, we'd, you know, connect the cables. I have so many stories about junior high lunches and video games. I gotta make a video about that. But again, Mega Man Battle Network, I'm excited for it. It actually comes out, I believe, the day before my birthday. So yeah, like, I'll do like a pre-game birthday stream or something like that to get that game out. So yeah, Mega Man Battle Network collection, I'm in for it, and you guys should buy it too because there's a lot of games that come on this collection. Crime Boss, Rock A City. Do I even need to explain why this game is going to be amazing? You've got the likes of Danny Glover, Michael Rooker, you've got Michael Madsen, you've got Chuck Norris in this, okay? Danny Trejo. There is just so many celebrities in this, and it looks absolutely insane. I think this game has a lot of potential. We don't know too much about it, but just from that trailer that we did see when it came out, I think it was during the VGA Awards or something, Video Game Awards, it just blew my mind. And I normally don't get like taken by trailers on the first go for the most part. I'm a little bit more reserved on how I feel, but seeing all these action icons from the 80s and 90s in this game and just blows my mind. And apparently, if I remember correctly, I heard they're going to be adding more celebrities to this game, and it's literally what's going to be called Celebrities the Game. And this isn't kind of new. Like there have been celebrities in video games for many years now. Like hell, going back to the original like Grand Theft Auto, you had a lot of personality in them. You had a lot of celebrities in those as well. But honestly, I'm excited for this game. It looks amazing from that trailer that we saw. Let's just hope it's actually good. I really hope that this game does not end up on a top 10 worst list for 2023, because I'm really excited for this. Metal Slug Tactics. This is something that we haven't really heard much about, but when it first came out, I was in. Give me tactics, give me Metal Slug. I don't need nothing else. Like the game has already been bought for me. Like I am super stoked for this to be a thing, because Metal Slug is just a franchise that is beautiful. Okay, SNK really had a winner with those, and a lot of the characters you see in those were also like in King of Fighters and such, and it's just they're goofy, cartoony kind of games, and I love the fact that they were so well animated back in the day. I remember playing these games in the arcade every Saturday after bowling, because like there was also like Windjammers in the SNK cabinet. It was like a mix of games in there. And Metal Slug has always been a fun game, so seeing it in its tactics form is beautiful. I mean, I like these tactic games, so keep them coming, guys. I'm excited for this, and I don't think it's going to be a bad game. I think this is going to be a game that a lot of people are going to be happy for. Advanced Wars Reboot Camp. Yeah, this is a game that I was super excited for last year, but unfortunately, due to what's been happening overseas and such, they have not put out the game, unfortunately. And it's funny how history repeats itself, because if any of you guys know the story of Advanced Wars, when we got it in America, it came out the day before September 11th. So obviously when that day happened, it got delayed everywhere else in the world but America. We had it for a while before anybody else did. And again, this is another game that I played in junior high at lunch with my friends. We all loved Advanced Wars, and the 4-player option to it, the 2-player option, just fighting your friends, and then all of us helping each other on levels that we were stuck at, because some of us were in different parts of the game. And just from what I'm seeing so far, I'm liking what I'm seeing of this remake. Granted, I do rather enjoy sprite-based stuff, but honestly, this looks pretty damn good, honestly. And I'm excited for it because it's a franchise that needs more love. It did get a fair amount. It went all the way up to, I believe, the DS era, if I remember correctly, and I think it had like 5 games, and we're getting a remake of the first 2. So yeah, if you've never played the original and you don't want to wait till next year when it comes out, if it comes out, we still don't know if it can get delayed, go and get the original. The original is, I feel, not expensive to buy on eBay, and if you still have a Wii U with the Game Boy access and everything, because I think the Wii U still allows you to download games, I think it's on there. So yeah, go download Advanced Wars if you like tactical or military type games. This game is just a load of fun. It's got a lot of charisma, and I'm hoping that that also carries over to the remakes of both the first games. Sons of the Forest. Yeah, what can I say? Another game that's kind of horror inspired, and it's a survival game. It's gonna make the list. The original Forest for me was a lot of fun. Now, I love games like 7 Days to Die, and there's things I love in 7 Days to Die that you can do that you can't do in, the Forest, and then vice versa. But I've played a lot of the Forest with my friends, and shockingly, the PlayStation 4 version of the Forest runs really good. So if you don't have a PC, get some friends together and play the Forest. It's really good on PS4. But when I saw that this game was getting a remake, I lost my mind. And then the gameplay started rolling out of what the game was going to be like, and there was going to be weather that affects you, and these enemies are going to be stronger and scarier than ever. It just blew my mind, because again, the original Forest is a great game, and we need more horror-like games with co-op in them, because we've all been asking for Resident Evil Outbreak for years, and whether we get that, I do not know. But either way, I am happy with Sons of the Forest coming out. I'm glad it got delayed, because again, we don't want broken games. Coming out this year, I think actually at the end of February, so really excited for this one. Spider-Man 2. I am very excited for this, because if you guys saw my live streams that I did of the original Spider-Man from Insomnia Games, I truly loved that game and every second of it. I didn't get bored with it. The missions, the voice acting, the story, the content, all the stuff just was amazing. I couldn't get enough of that game when I played it, and then discovering the photo mode, absolutely fantastic. There was so much to love about that game, and I'm super stoked for this game coming out, even though we virtually know nothing about it other than that trailer that we got where Miles Morales was in there, and then they see Venom, and, you know, that's it. But I have faith because this company seems to understand how to make video games, right? Like, this game, the first one was amazing, and I'm sure the second one's going to blow us out of the water. I think that they're really amping up to it being something special, and I hope so, because, honestly, the original was amazing, and it's games like that we need, and I hope they continue that with their next one that they're doing with Spider-Man 2. Resident Evil 4 Remake. Yeah, so I'm not really the biggest fan of the original Resident Evil 4. There's a lot about the game that I really don't like, and there's a lot of things about that game that I do like, but, you know, I think from what I'm seeing of RE4 Remake, it's going to be the game that RE4 should have been back in the day. Now, we all know the history of that, right? Like, because of how RE4 was handled, and, like, it kept changing, it kept being scrapped, and then from that, games like Onimusha and Devil May Cry came about from that. We got the Resident Evil that we know and love today. But I always really felt that taking out the horror aspect of what RE4 originally was supposed to be was kind of a big mistake in many ways. And now we've got Resident Evil 4 Remake coming, and the horror seems to be there, but it's got the action that you love about Resident Evil 4, right? And I love that aspect. And I love how it's looking so far. The gameplay from what we've seen looks like it should. So I don't have any, honestly, worry about this game. I personally hope it ends up being better than the original. Now, I don't think it's gonna reach the levels of legacy that the original 4 had, because that did do a lot for gaming back in the, the mid 2000s. But I'm really thinking that RE4 Remake could be better than the original. And I like what I've seen so far of the characters. Like, Leon Kennedy looks like he's still haunted from Raccoon City, which they touched upon in the original games and like one of the CGI movies a little bit, or two of the CGI movies actually, but not really as much. And that's one of the things I always hated, that Resident Evil characters didn't have depth to their characters. They were just cool, fun characters. But then obviously as some games came out later on, we got that depth with them, and I'm really looking forward to how that's handled here in Resident Evil 4 Remake. And from what we found out recently, the island that everybody hates in Resident Evil 4 is going to be in the game. So whether it's cut down or not, I don't know, but we'll just have to wait and see. But I am very excited for this, and you can bet that I will be streaming this when the game comes out. Is anybody really surprised that Street Fighter 6 is going to be my #1 most anticipated game of 2023? Come on, guys. You've been on this channel long enough. You've seen me on Twitter. You know that I'm a fighting game guy and that I love Capcom. And yeah, well, yeah, it's Street Fighter 6. That's the #1 pick. Look, game is a thing that needs to hit a grand slam in many ways. And to be fair, I kind of feel it's already there. From the hype of the beta that came out and what everybody's been experiencing playing it, and from what Capcom is showing us, leadership and development has changed drastically since Street Fighter V. And honestly, as bad as Street Fighter V was, those final 2 seasons of the game were excellent. I love the character select that we got, the ones that came in. I love that a lot of things in the game were fixed. And Street Fighter 6 is one of those things where I guess it could be the answer to like saying, hey, I'm sorry for Street Fighter 5, but look what we're doing in Street Fighter 6. Street Fighter 6 is already correcting the mistakes that SF5 had, where it was like no single player content in that whatsoever, really. Whereas Street Fighter 6 is like, yeah, we've got like a hub world and you get to create your own character. And this is something that I've wanted for Street Fighter for years. I've wanted this for so long because, well, honestly, I love like when you could do that in Soul Calibur, Mortal Kombat Armageddon. I love games where you can make your own characters. And you're able to do that here. And it just looks so fun. And the combat looks great. I mean, the combat looks as fun as it did in Street Fighter 4. Because I wasn't the biggest fan of the combat in Street Fighter 5 and the mechanics of it so much. It wasn't really for me. I didn't really care for it that much at all. But Street Fighter 4's, however, was kind of the definitive for me and the one that I have been able to play the best. And then I feel it was the best. I love the focus attack, and I just loved a lot of things in that game that worked. But honestly, at the end of the day, Street Fighter 6 is that game that is going to save Street Fighter, and I will bet that entire wall of video games right behind me, okay? That Street Fighter 6 sells big and ends up being probably everybody's favorite Street Fighter game of all time. I honestly feel it might even beat out how people feel about Street Fighter Third Strike, because, people still love Third Strike and Super Turbo. People still play that competitively. Okay, so Street Fighter 6 has a lot already in it that makes it a great game, and we've only played betas. I mean, I didn't get in, unfortunately, but honestly, you look at what this game is bringing to the table. It's like, look, we messed up in Street Fighter 5. We're going to give you everything in Street Fighter 6. And I think that Capcom understands that. Capcom is a company that in the last, 5-6 years, has turned itself around to be something incredible. And Street Fighter 6 is kind of proof of that. So same with a lot of their other games that have come out since then, too. So, yeah, honestly, guys, if you're not even a Street Fighter fan, I say play this game, right? I mean, I've got JJ from Row. He wants to play it. All these years of me trying to get him to play fighting games, he wants to play Street Fighter 6. A guy who doesn't play fighting games wants to. So, and I've been seeing that too. A lot of people who don't play fighting games, or at least play them competitively, or even super casually, they want to play it because of that create a character mode. And from how all this hype is generating and how flashy and fun the game looks, people have been telling me about it. And so, Capcom, I think you're doing good right now. And this is why this game ends up on my #1 spot for 2023 of the most anticipated games. All right, guys, well, there you have it. That is my top 10 most anticipated games of 2023. Let me know what yours are down below, and maybe there's some games that I missed too, because I'm honestly, aside from these games, I do want to play a lot more games next year, and I'm going to be reviewing a lot more games next year too. So with that being said, guys, please thumbs up and subscribe because it's free, and this day and age, free is a damn good thing. As always, everybody, thank you for watching. I'm One Big Boss, and I will see you all next time. Hey everyone, thanks for watching. If you could give this video a thumbs up and a share, helps the channel out big time. Give me a follow on Twitter and Discord where I'm most active, links down below in the description. Also, I stream on Twitch, so if you'd like to see me play a bunch of new to retro games, well, click down below, give it a follow, greatly appreciate it. Till next time, guys, be safe and have a good one.